Hello and welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to teach you how to build a hip hop track in Logic Pro 10. This hip hop track I've made here is based off of Kanye West's Fourth Dimension, and in his track he samples an old song by Louis Armstrong, and built his hip hop beat around that, and I've basically taken inspiration from that and done that here. So I'll show you the whole track. So up here is my initial sample. So I've sampled Slipping Into Darkness by War. That's my original sample there, and I have used certain things that I've shown you how to do in the last video. Let me just stretch that out 2 seconds. So I've used like a crossfade thing here where it's slowed the track down and then sped it back up again, which I showed you how to do in a previous video. And I've also I've created other tracks that I've put the sample on that I've panned it differently, and I've put different effects on it as well. So once the initial intro is over, I've used the same sample here still, but I've now added the actual hip hop beat to it. So I used a drum machine for this, and I've doubled up all the drums that I've had. So I've doubled up the kick, doubled up the snare, doubled up the clap, and I've just kept the hi-hats just singular. And I've kept the kick in centre of the mix, and the rest of them I've pulled back a wee bit, but I've still keep the mix balanced. The next thing I've used is a Maiden 808 with the ES2 synthesizer, just to make it kind of like deep and punchy. And so I've used all that to build upon this sample here to actually turn it into a hip hop track. And the next section of that is verse 1. That's how I've built verse 1. Verse 2, I have used a different sample from the original one, which is a vocalization of just vowels, and it's kind of stripped everything back, and I've halved the time of the drums, so I've made like the hi-hat slower and just kind of made the drums only like on one beat of the bar. And then so that's the chorus, and I've created a wee build up here to go like back into the verse again. I'll just show you. So I've panned these differently. I've chopped these up and panned them differently. So it creates like a kind of stutter effect, and then it comes back into the very first verse again. So that's just the stutter here, and then comes back into it. But I've added something different so you're not listening to the same thing and getting bored, which is here. And I've also showed you how to do this in the last video as well. So it is a reversed cymbal. Let me just see if I can find it. A reverse cymbal here. So that swells up and then comes back. So it's in the last beat of the bar, swells up and then comes into the next bar. It's just to add a wee bit of extra texture to it. And then after that, I just cut everything back. So it's literally just the sample again. So it's like going back to the intro, and then comes back in with the verse. It comes back in with the chorus, sorry, and then the stutter effect here you can see here, and then it finishes with the verse again. So I'll show you, I'll play it and explain it to you. So this is the sample. So that is the initial beat, and now in the next section I've halved the speed of the drums, so it kind of pulls everything back and makes it a lot more chill. I've also added different instrumentation here, like the piano here, and then the swell pad down at the bottom. And with the, I'll show you the stutter effect I've added. So the stutter is here, and I've panned it from each side and just chopped up the initial sample as well. Also having a slow, so there's a sample up here that I've chopped up, and I've done instead of the tape stop that I showed you how to do in the previous video, I've done it the opposite way, so it's a slow start up, but I've used that sample to create a swell, and then it comes back into the first verse, and then I've basically just flipped this process over here. So it's just to show you, like I explained to you how I've built this track, and just to show you that you can do it too. So thank you very much for watching.